This lesson is on adding fractions with unlike denominators. Here we have a problem of 1/5 plus 1/4. If you look at the rectangles, I have 1/5 shaded red and 1/4 shaded red. Since they're not the same size, I can't add them together. I know they're not the same size from the picture, but I also know they're not the same size from the denominator. When we're adding fractions with unlike denominators, the first thing we have to do is to change and find a common denominator. The way to do that is to think about the numbers 5 and 4. This is where our least common multiple will come in handy. I can list the multiples of 5 until I find one that I know that 4 goes into. And then I list the multiples of 4, and I see that 20 is the common multiple. Step number 2 is to rewrite the problem using that common multiple. Step 3 then is to add the numerators. And step 4 is to simplify. Please pause the video now and write these 4 steps into your notes with this example. We're going to solve it on the next slide. So we have 1/5 plus 1/4. The first thing I'm going to do though is to rewrite it vertically. This will be very helpful when using the new denominator. Now we found that 5 and 4 have a common multiple of 20. We're going to make that the denominator for both of the fractions. We can do that because I know that 5 times 4 equals 20 and 4 times 5 equals 20. By making equivalent fractions with that, all we're doing is cutting up those rectangles into smaller pieces. So if I multiply the bottom by 4 here, I have to multiply the top to get 4 20ths. And if I multiply the bottom over here by 5 of the denominator, I multiply the numerator by 5 to get 5 20ths. Now thinking that we have the same denominator, all we have to do is add the numerators. 4 plus 5 is 9 20ths. This does not need to be simplified because nothing will simplify that. Now we use the least common multiple to find the 20. In fractions, we call it the least common denominator because it is the denominator of the fraction. So we will be referring to the denominator when we want to find something in common as the least common denominator. Here we have another problem. 3/8 plus 5/6. I notice the denominators are not the same. So I'm going to rewrite this problem vertically. And I'm going to think about my denominators of 8 and 6. I need to find the least common multiple, but remember we're calling it the least common denominator. If you need to, you can list the multiples to find that common denominator. Here we have 8, 16, 24, and 32. When I use 6, 12, 18, 24. There's the number we need. So I'm going to change the denominators to 24ths and make the equivalent fractions. I know that 8 times 3 is 24, so 3 times 3 is 9. I know 6 times 4 is 24, so 5 times 4 is 20. When we add these up, I end up with 29 24ths. Do you think I could leave it that way? Well, it is an improper fraction, so we'd like to change it to a mixed number. If you can do it in your head, that's fine. I'm going to write it out over here just in case you forgot how to change an improper fraction to a mixed number. 29 divided by 24. 24 can go into that once with 5 left over. So my new mixed number is 1 and 5/24. You should change any improper fractions to mixed numbers as your final answers. Here's another example. Why don't you try this one on your own, pause the video, and then come back and see how well you did. On this one, I knew that 8 was the least common denominator. I could list them out here. So I changed the bottom number. I multiplied 4 times 2, and the bottom fraction, the numerator, 3 times 2 is 6. The top one, I didn't have to change at all. When I add it, I have 13/8. That's an improper fraction, so I divide 13 divided by 8, and that equals 1 and 5/8. Here are 4 problems I'd like you to try on your own. Bring them back to class, and we will solve them together.